300 years ago, at my wedding to Julian, he attacked me, desperate for the drop of precious progenitor blood in my veins. He left me for dead and slaughtered my entire clan. As I lay dying, I was found by the vampire prince, Cassius. He took me home. He cherished me. My weakness, my lost power, none of it mattered. He even threw us a lavish wedding. When I became pregnant against all odds, he fed me his own blood every day, even though it weakened him. I thought he was my salvation. Until today, when I overheard him talking to his underling.
The parasite is nearly whole. 300 years of waiting are finally over. Soon, Lilith will be reborn in her womb, and I can finally give her the perfect, immortal body she deserves. And Lady Selene?
His voice hesitant.
She's just the vessel,
Cassius said with a shrug.
Lilith saved me. I owe her everything. Once Lilith is born, I'll drain every last drop of ancient blood from Selena's body and give Lilith true immortality.
I stood outside Cassius' study, listening. A chill crept up from my feet and settled deep in my heart. Strange. Vampires don't feel the cold. 300 years of a loving marriage. All of it, an elaborate lie. I thought back to that night, 300 years ago. My former fiancé, Julian, betrayed me at our wedding, stole the sacred progenitor blood from my veins, and massacred my entire clan. And now history was repeating itself. I had fallen into a man's trap, again.
Isn't that a bit cruel, my lord? After all, she's been the prince's wife for 3 centuries. That title was always meant for Lilith. I've let her enjoy it for 300 years. Besides, if I hadn't found her, she would have died at Julian's hands, wouldn't she? What if she finds out? She won't. She's too in love with me. Even if she suspects something, she won't dare believe it. And now, she's addicted to my blood and the elixirs. She can't survive without them.
I covered my mouth and stumbled back to my room, shaking. My handy-maiden Clara brought in 2 goblets. One held Cassius' blood, the other, the special elixir he'd found for me, said to protect the fetus and help it grow strong. My lady, the prince is so good to you. He specifically told me to watch you drink them every day.
Good to me?
I touched my swollen belly and couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. He had been good to me. When he first saved me, I had almost no power, more fragile than a human. Cassius fed me so much of his own blood, and even used his precious heart's blood to mend my spirit. Anyone who saw us would have sworn he was madly in love. Later, when I mourned for my clan, he spared no expense, building me a perfect replica of the castle I grew up in. He kissed my forehead back then, whispering softly,
I would do anything to see you happy.
That was why I fell for him. It's why I was willing to risk everything for him, even the near impossible danger of a vampire pregnancy. But now I see it. It wasn't me he cherished. It was my body, the vessel. Suddenly, all the things that never quite made sense clicked into place. No wonder he was moved to tears when I became pregnant. No wonder this child, which should have taken 2 centuries to term, was nearly due after only 1. I grabbed the goblet of blood and drained it in one go. As for the other, I poured it onto the floor. My lady, what are you—
Shh,
trust me. Don't say a word. She looked at the resolve in my eyes and finally nodded. She was half vampire. Her father was one of my own, cut down with the rest of my clan. Her loyalty was absolute. My belly clenched again as the thing inside me moved. More violently this time, as if it were desperate to claw its way out. I knew now. This wasn't my child. It was Lilith's soul. Can't wait to get out? I muttered to myself with a sneer. Too bad. Your little plan is about to go up in smoke. I went to my vanity and pulled an old map from the back of a drawer. I found it, the Sunstone Sanctuary, a forbidden place for our kind, rumored to be filled with deadly sacred light. But it was also the only place that could purify a corrupt soul. If I could survive its holy fire, I could kill the parasite in my womb for good. I would rather die than be a pawn in Cassius's game. I stared at my reflection, a fire of vengeance burning in my eyes. I swore an oath. If I survived the holy fire, I would burn the Crimson Court to ash, and I would make Cassius pay a price he would never forget for all eternity. Just as I hid the map, a sharp, tearing pain ripped through my abdomen. Something inside me was thrashing wildly. A cry escaped my lips as I clutched my stomach. I couldn't let it grow unchecked. I had to suppress it. I desperately called upon what little remained of my ancient bloodline's power, trying to cage the parasite in my womb, and stared at the stained box. It was a gift from Cassius for our 100th wedding anniversary.
I wrote this melody for you.
He had said, his voice full of emotion.
So whenever you hear it, you'll remember the beautiful moment we first met.
I had been moved to tears, and I treasured it. How ironic. I reached for the music box, ready to hurl it into the fireplace. Just as my fingers were about to release it, the door flew open. Cassius rushed in, his eyes immediately locking on the music box in my hand. His face paled.
I heard you cry out. What happened?
It's nothing, just the baby kicking a little hard. I was just thinking, the diamonds on this box are lovely. Why don't we have them wreath into a new piece of jewelry? I said, forcing a weak smile despite the pain. My tastes have changed a bit since becoming pregnant. Cassius's pupils shrunk to pinspecks. He took a half step forward.
No, I want to save this box for...
He cut himself off, a flash of panic in his eyes. Save it for who? I asked, staring straight at him.
For our child. It has sentimental value.
A lie. That's not what he was about to say. A tide of fury washed over me, and I lost all control. With all my might, I threw the music box toward the fireplace.
No!
Cassius screamed, and without a second thought, he plunged his hand into the roaring flames to snatch it back. The fire engulfed his hand, the smell of burning flesh filling the air. But he seemed to inscription inside. To Lilith, my eternal beloved. I laughed, a bitter, mocking sound. Of course, the music box was never for me. The token of love I had cherished for 300 years was a gift for another woman. Hate and humiliation consumed me. I swept all the jewelry Cassian had ever given me off vanity and onto the floor.
This was all for her, wasn't it? I was just a stand-in, a vessel.
Selene, what are you doing? Calm down.
I didn't listen, just kept throwing his so-called mementos into the fire. Finally, Cassius's mask of tenderness cracked. He roared.
Enough! Keep this up, and I'll throw you in the silver cells myself!
I froze. The silver cells. Even a prince as powerful as him grew weak there. He wanted to lock me, his pregnant wife, in that place? Seeing my pale face, Cassian's voice softened again.
Selene, listen to me. Stop this foolishness. I'll give you anything you want. New jewelry?
I could only stare at the music box in his hand, my heart burning with pure hatred. He tried to soothe me, but I just closed my eyes, refusing to look at him. I even knocked the goblet of blood he offered me from his hand. It splattered all over him, and the last shred of tenderness vanished from his face.
Have it your way.
He waved his hand.
Take her away.
The silver cells were in the castle's deepest dungeon, their walls forged from pure silver. For a vampire, it was hell on earth. The heavy silver door slammed shut, and I collapsed onto the freezing floor. The guard was a grim-faced blood thrall. He looked at me with what might have been pity.
My lady, why must you provoke the master?
Just then, a wave of powerful evil energy surged from within me. To my horror, I saw the guard's normal gaze turn vacant. His lips twisted into a bizarre, cruel smile, and his voice became sharp and grepping. Finally! I can finally control things out here! That wasn't the guard's voice. It was Lilith. Her soul was already strong enough to possess a human. The blood thrall's eyes turned vicious. With a wicked grin, he grabbed me and slammed me onto a rack covered with silver spikes. The silver spikes pierced my skin, and agony shot through me. I was pinned to the rack, unable to move.
Ah, what exquisite pain.
The Lilith-controlled thruff hissed, picking up a red-hot branding iron.
For the last 100 years in your womb, I've had to endure every moment of you and Cassia's intimacy. Now, it's your turn to taste a little pain.
You parasite.
Wound, listen to that lovely scream.
Lilith said, lost in ecstasy.
And the smell of burning flesh. So delightful. You should feel honored to give my rebirth.
The torment was absolute. My heart hammered against my ribs, threatening to stop at any moment. My vision blackened, my consciousness fading. Just as I was about to pass out, Cassius, in his chambers, suddenly woke from his sleep. He glanced at the moonlit window, then at the empty space beside him in the bed. A strange unease washed over him.
Go to the silver cells and check on Selene.
He ordered the thrall outside his door.
I've prepared her favorite ruby necklace. If she's ready to apologize, let her out.
That thrall, also secretly under Lilith's control.
Yes, Master.
A moment later, he returned.
Master, the lady is still throwing a tantrum. She refuses to see you and said some very unpleasant things.
Cassius's face darkened.
If she's not sorry, then let her rot down there until she comes to her senses.
Meanwhile, in the silver cells, I had completely lost consciousness. Sensing her host's life force fading, Lilith was forced to stop the torture. She needed me alive, at least until the moment of her birth. A warm energy flowed from my womb, mending my damaged heart. She was feeding her own power back into me, just enough to keep my heart beating. Pain pulled me back to reality. I opened my eyes to find myself still tied to the rack, my body covered in wounds. Lilith's voice echoed from within my own womb. Awake? Good. That was just the appetizer. Now for the main course. A violent slam came from my belly, as if something was trying to tear its way out. Every impact was agony.
Feel that? That's for the 100 years you've restrained and suppressed me. Now I'm going to make you pay back 100 times over for every ounce of Cassia's affection you enjoyed. Every kiss, every sweet word. They were all meant for me.
A horrific scream ripped from my throat, echoing through the silver cells. Far away in his chambers, Cassius felt a phantom pain and shot upright in bed.
Master, what's wrong?
His thrall asked with feigned concern.
I thought I heard something. Never mind. Probably a nightmare. Selene is stubborn. Maybe then she'll learn not to be so much trouble.
He lay back down and was soon fast asleep.